What's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new episode, and today we're going to be talking about gerrymandering, the process of redrawing districts for representation in the House of Representatives. I understand that gerrymandering is a very controversial topic, but in the end of the day, though, it needs to be talked about, especially with this midterm election coming up. Now, based off my analysis, 24 states have illegal gerrymandering and 26 states have legally gerrymandered their districts. Now, obviously, it's really hard to gerrymander districts in like Idaho, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, Alaska, West Virginia, and Vermont because the states I just stated either have one representative, which is hard to gerrymander one representative in the House of Representatives, or they say like Idaho and West Virginia, Republicans have like over 65% of the vote share in like every presidential election and in House vote share. So it's kind of hard for them to lose those seats. So yeah. In that case, we're going to start off with our first state, Oregon. Oregon was the first to certify their new map, and Democrats have chosen a very biased map. They gained a new district from the census, and what was supposed to happen is that this district was supposed to be a bit more towards Republicans, but in return, these districts would be much more solid, and this one get more blue over time. Although that is shit. Although they biasedly gave themselves this map and solidly they made these districts more solid for themselves. Republicans did try to compromise with them and gave a very, 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 very good map. I'm sorry. Did I say a very, very good map? No, I meant a very, very biased map for themselves. They basically just cracked Portland into two districts, gave themselves a good representation in the second district, and basically gerrymandered themselves into three districts, basically giving themselves the ability to gain 3 more seats. Yeah, you gotta love that gerrymandering. At the end of the day, though, the new map is illegal. It's basically biased for themselves. I have no idea what a new map could look like, but in the end of the day, though, that is basically how they drew it. Democrats have drawn it. Now, it's not just Democrats in this process. It's also Republicans in this process. But I'm stating Democrats first because I'm going from west to east. I'm going in no order. Great, I have no order. Yeah, that's exactly what you want to hear. But okay then, let's go off with the 2 next states that I think are actually quite interesting in my opinion. Nevada, we'll go with first. We're going to be talking about Nevada and New Mexico. Why? Well, if my pen works. Now, Republicans had control of the legislature in 2010 and drew the district into basically packing Democrats into one district in Las Vegas and giving themselves the suburbs. Now, those suburbs have increasingly been getting more Democratic, although shifting away in 2020 due to Democrats assuming that Hispanics would just vote for them. Yeah, you don't assume anything in votes. No, you make sure you have them. But yeah, these districts are competitive. What Democrats thought was a good idea was crack Las Vegas. So there's a thing called packing and there's a thing called cracking in districts. Now, packing and cracking is not to be confused with packing cocaine into your ears. Excuse me for 5 seconds. My deepest apologies. I got sick over the weekend, and so that's why I sound a bit congested. So yeah, my deepest apologies for my voice. So yeah, I'm gonna do this to the best of my ability, and I'll see. Yeah. Okay, back where I was. Nevada, packing and cracking cocaine. All right. So, as you can see here, they basically cracked themselves into more districts, try to give themselves more solid districts. But in the end of the day, though, they might be cracking themselves into Republican control. Now, same thing with New Mexico. Albuquerque, New Mexico, was split into two, and basically, Democrats have given Republicans the ability to gain another seat, although it is unlikely. But in the political climate, and if Democrats don't show up, they'll just win the other seat. So yeah, I've been mentioning a lot about Democrats have been doing this, but also Republicans have been doing this. I'm keeping this as a checklist, just as a keep in mind. So I'm keeping these as checklists. So that's why I have these three as toss-ups. These are illegal. At the end of the day, though, I'm just using the checklist. Now, these states, the next few states I'm going to be mentioning, have illegally gerrymandered, but controlled by Republicans. Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Tennessee, South Carolina, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. Now, why are these states so important for the illegal gerrymandering scheme? Well, I'll tell you why. Black voters. The Deep South has a notorious history for diluting the voting power of African Americans and other minority groups. The Deep South in particular, Tennessee is a perfect example. Now, Democrats actually held two seats here. They held Nashville, although it did spread into other rural counties, and they held Memphis. But then Republicans cracked Tennessee into 3 districts, giving them an extra seat. Now, this district isn't protected by the Voting Rights Act, so therefore it is, technically speaking, legal. But this does dilute the power of African Americans. So technically speaking, it is illegal. It's still illegal. But diluting the voting power of African Americans is a huge problem. Arkansas is notorious for it. There was actually maps proposed by Democrats, I believe. I think they were by Democrats. I think there was a few by Republicans as well. Mainly by pretty much all the Republicans were like, yeah, let's gerrymander the crap out of these districts. The closest like one for Democrats to gain was like here. Yeah. But in the end of the day, though, Arkansas and Tennessee do not have enough black African American representation and minority representation, and they've illegally gerrymandered that. They gerrymandered Little Rock, as you can see here, into basically cracking Little Rock. Yeah, that's a big issue. I'll go with three other states, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Actually, Louisiana and Alabama had their maps overturned, but then reinstated. What was supposed to happen in both those court rulings was when they got overturned, they said, "Oh yeah, you have to give them black representation. You have to give them a second majority district." The Democrat Governor John Edwards actually said he wanted a second district for them. As you can see here, there are multiple plans stated that, oh yeah, we'll give black representation. But then a court ruling said, nah, you have to put back the original map. What happened here, though? In Alabama, same thing. If you look here, there's a bunch of districts here that there's maps proposed that would give a second majority black district. Now, African Americans are more likely to go Democratic, but still. But yeah, that's the whole point. Mississippi, it's still technically speaking illegal since Democrats are getting 40% of the vote still there. What really should be happening is that there should be a second competitive district or a somewhat competitive district. I'm not a professor in this profession, but in the end of the day, though, it is still illegally gerrymandered. I know that for a fact. So we'll go into our next state. We'll go into the new Sunbelt states: Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. South Carolina did try compromising. They almost went with this map, which was proposed. Who was it proposed by? It was proposed Alternative State House Senate Amendment 2. This is the South Carolina State Senate. The South Carolina State Senate is controlled by the Republicans. So they did try compromising. Nancy Mace is a part of this district. If you actually look at the old map, uh, Democrats nearly won this district. Actually, if you look at the current district, Trump only won it by 6 points. So what's the partisan lean here? 6, 14, 14 minus 6. 14 minus 6, which is 5. So there's a 5-point difference. So this would basically give the new district a Democrat. And then this one here, this would basically give a 5-point advantage for Republicans in the 5th. But they ended up going with a biased map. So I did find it interesting how they gerrymandered themselves. They were like, "Nah, we'll go for a Democrat-leaning map. Nope, we're going for a biased map." I love that, honestly. Huh, weirdly enough, Georgia is in here. But Georgia is on my map of important states. Now let's go to Georgia. Now, Georgia is turning more and more blue. Although it still has a conservative pass, it's still turning more purple. Now, Biden did win this state. He won it with the slim of his teeth, assuming he can speak with them. But as you can tell, but the GOP control the gerrymandering process. So I'm gonna give a biased map. So what do? They basically put Columbus in some more rural counties, basically making it more competitive, a bit more. And if you look here, these two districts are suburban metro areas of Atlanta. Now, watch what happens when I put them in. See what happens when I put the new map in. Now, new map, old map. New map, old map. It got redder. So they basically gave Democrats a fourth Atlanta district. I feel like that's going to be the case of every year now. Is like they're just like, okay, we'll add a district there until they can just get enough representation in those seats. But yeah, Democrats actually did try proposing a new map, and it was kind of weird at first. So Democrats would maintain their second district, but also they would make this 12th district more competitive. It is getting a bit more blue. I stated here, 12 points, 12.6, pretty much. This district is, give it some time. But if you actually look here, there's the Augusta and Savannah. They're getting more competitive, way more competitive than they should be. And it is, so therefore, giving them more representation. But then look at this thing. They basically did what Republicans did. So Democrats had how many seats here? So they had 3 solid seats here. So 1, 2, 3. They gave themselves a 4th seat, but giving themselves 2 new seats. Like it's like we'll keep a competitive suburban county, but we'll keep a rural / suburban county seat, house seat. In fact, this was actually probably the most unbiased map. There was some bias stuff that would need to be addressed, but in the end of the day, though, it was a better map than the Republicans proposed. What was the first one, though? The first one wasn't that good. It was still pretty bad. But yeah, we'll go into our next state, Florida. We're gonna stop at Florida and then we'll come back to it another time. This will be the final state. Florida decided it is, no matter what, the fact state, it is illegal gerrymandering. This district right here, I'm actually going to circle it with purple to piss off the people that made this map. That district there is a Voting Rights Act protected district. So you cannot change that district. You can change it to give more representation, but it is stated by law you cannot change that district. You can change the district, but you would need something better or something the same. But watch this area right here. Watch the Orlando, Tampa, Abe area, and watch the Fort Lauderdale, and Miami area. Nope. Here. I feel like the guy in CNN, John King. John King. Am I going to become the new John King? But let's watch this. Then and now. Then and now. Then now. What the heck is going on? All right, clear man. So they packed Orland. They cut off this district entirely. Although this isn't the first time they actually tried doing so. They've actually tried doing this in the past. If you look back in 2012 and 14, they had this issue before. Although Orlando is a bit different now. But yeah, this isn't the first time they tried doing this. Playing this scheme again is pretty bad. Tampa Bay, this is illegal right here because you cannot. Doing this right here is this part right here is illegal. You cannot do that. It was stated by law last time they did this, and there really is nothing. I can't find anything illegal here. It's basically the same thing. Although diluting a bit of Miami is kind of a bit illegal, but not much. But yeah, but it's still a bit. There's not much illegal in here. There's not much. But yeah, Ron DeSantis tried pushing for this map right here, but the Republicans tried pushing in a different map. It was like, look at the amount of maps they proposed. Now, usually the governor doesn't get involved, but the governor got involved this time. I'm trying to find it. What was this map? That was a new map. I'm trying to find it. Where the heck is that map? I don't know where the map is, but the Florida Republican Party basically said, okay, we're gonna do this legally, and they proposed pretty much the same map with some provisions that still help them. Basically, this map again, with some other provisions in there that basically help them. It wasn't technically speaking legal, but it wasn't technically speaking illegal. Because remember, in 2010, the voters passed a ballot initiative that basically said, "Oh, we will not have a biased gerrymander map." Something tells me someone's breaking the law. But yeah, in my next video, we're going to be talking. But that's pretty much it for the first part. In my next video, we're going to be talking about the other states, assuming my computer can ever load. We're going to be talking about Utah, Arizona, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Hasta la vista.